Wasn't Dallas's night tonight. Not to say they didn't have their chances to win Game 3, but Portland got the job done on their home court to save themselves from going down 3-0. The way the game started, at the very first was bad. Matthews ended up having a really big game, but he did most of his damage there at the first. They went up 10-2 to start the game. But from what I saw in the first half overall, I was fine with it. I think the Mavs are down 2 points. I think it's 54-52 at the end of the half. That was fine on the road against a very good Portland team whose back's against the wall in a must-win game at home. To only be down by 2 points at half, I was perfectly fine with. So that was fine. It was just in the second half, though. Dallas stuck with Portland, but it kind of felt like Game 2 for the Mavs, where Dallas was in the game, but you kept feeling that this was Portland's game to win. And part of that was, in the last couple games, in Game 2, we had three guys really step up: Dirk, Kidd, and it was Page at that game. And Jason Terry really hasn't been a factor in the first two games. This game he was. He had 29 points. He was our leading scorer. Dirk, however, didn't get his usual numbers and got 25 points, which is good for most players. But Dirk, we need him to get more. He's usually getting 30-something points his last couple games. And Dirk, though, in the fourth quarter was not clutch. He wasn't. He was in Game 2. He was one of the main reasons we won the game in the last game. This time, at one point in the fourth, he was like 0 for 5, 0 for 6, missing shots. But you know what? It wasn't Dirk's fault, because Jason Kidd, who has been getting big buckets for us in the last couple games, only had 8 today. He was 3 for 9 from the field. Not great. And Page scored 21 last game, had 7 this game. Other than the only guys in double digits for the Dallas Mavericks was Jason Terry and Dirk Nowitzki. But you look at Portland, they got help all over the place. In the last game, it was Gerald Wallace kind of came alive for him. And he didn't really have a great game this time, but a guy who did step up was a guy who's been getting so much criticism. A guy, when you let a guy who I think went 0 for and then he had maybe 2 points in the last game, I'm not sure, and Brandon Roy, a guy who was an all-star a couple years ago, but, that knee problem has never been the same, may never be the same. He went off for 16. So when you have a guy that you've shut down, has not been a factor, just come out of nowhere and get 16 points, that's going to hurt you. Of course, LaMarcus Aldridge had 20, which is not, he usually gets more than that. But he keeps proving more and more that he has got to be one of the toughest guys to guard in the entire league. A guy that big and that strong. He's 7 feet tall, just like Dirk, but he's stronger than Dirk, so he has more of an inside game. But he has a great touch. And he's got range, and so you saw Tyson and Brandon try to get a hand in his face. Everything. If LaMarcus is focused, it's more than likely going to go in, and he has 20 points. But Andre Miller got his 16, and Wesley Matthews was the leading scorer for them with 25. They had 4 guys in double digits with the Mavericks 2 guys. They just had more guys step up. Now our bench did come alive there in the first half, and then we had like 30-something points off the bench. But it was distributed around, which is fine. But we're going to need more guys to step up on their own. So here's the thing with the Dallas Mavericks. And no, this is not, of course, it's not panic mode, though a lot of Mavericks fans may be like that. I will say this. I will be very concerned about this series if the Dallas Mavericks lose on Saturday. Maybe it's just, once again, maybe it's another that whole jaded Dallas Mavericks fan just waiting for something to blow up in my face. And you know what? Maybe it'd be great. Yeah, not great, but it would be good if we did lose Saturday to see this team bow up and take the series, even if if the series is tied 2-2. But this team the past couple years has folded, and in tight situations. I remember back in 2006, before the finals. People always remember at the finals the way they collapsed, and that kind of started it. But people forget those playoffs, those Dallas Mavericks fought, and that San Antonio series that went 7 games. There were multiple times that series should have been over in favor of the Spurs. and the Mavericks wouldn't let it happen. Even it came down to Game 7, where we all know about Dirk Nowitzki getting fouled by Manu there at the end, and then we put him away in overtime. But that was the last time you really saw a Dallas team really show a lot of toughness and grit. And ever since that finals in 06, the Mavericks are trying to find that again. I'm not saying now they showed it. I'm not saying they didn't show it tonight. I think you lost by 5 points in Game 3 when you're up 2-0 against a good team on their home court. That's fine. I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with the loss tonight. I wish they would have won. A part of me wanted so bad to sweep the series. Now, when I say that, doesn't mean to Portland fans, I'm not saying that your team is gonna get swept or that the Mavericks are good enough to sweep them. But it's just because this could then go 6 or 7, which is what we all thought going in. But I wanted if the Mavericks could have swept Portland. It would have really been it would have been a great morale booster, but as well just kind of a stick it to you to everyone who has been doubting this team going into the playoffs. And like I said before the playoffs, though, there are valid problems with the Dallas Mavericks and valid critiques as well. But it would have been nice to have that. But that's not going to happen. Game 4 is on Saturday at 4 o'clock here in Dallas. Well, I mean, here, the time zone in Texas. It's in Portland, though. So I'd like to see the same intensity. I like the way the team didn't quit. I mean, they kept attacking the basket. I love that part of it. And even though Kidd didn't have a great night from the field, he was still trying to make plays around it. Barea still attacking the basket. Dirk, his shots are going to fall. The team's fine. Tyson got into foul trouble, and that really hurt us there underneath. And it put Brandon Haywood on the floor, he's a good defender, and he's all right underneath, but he is terrible from the line. It really is. I mean, hack a Haywood, I would do it every time. Anytime he's he's underneath and you think he's going to score, just hit his arms and hope he doesn't miss it, because more than likely he's going to miss both his free throws. But Game 4 on Saturday, and we'll see if the Dallas Mavericks can respond from this. Nothing that I saw from this game makes me think that they're not going to respond on Saturday. But just that little thing in the back of your mind as a Mavericks fan, you try to hold it. You almost want to hold the team at arm's length, because you know they've done this before. But it's all right. Mavs lose. Congrats to Portland in Game 3. Let's see if the Mavs can get Game 4. See you guys later.